But that's certainly part of this process. It's, you know, if what comes back from stakeholders and what kind of programming desires are meant for the site, you know, we have to be open to, you know, looking at what comes back. You know, having said that, this is a very fluid process. We want to ensure that we can develop the right program, not just to suit the community, but also to suit the site. So, you know, we're really looking at this in a very open way. There's been some proposals on the table in terms of program, but, you know, I think we want to be able to refine all of that as we move forward. And you know, to your first question about engagement, you know, I've never seen one that's been, they're all different. They're all bespoke, and it really is, it's like people, communities have a character, and, you know, there are things that you're gonna do it certain ways because that makes sense. So, and I think you can say the same for the park design and the facility design. It's going to be one that suits the community.
Appreciate that answer. Councilmember Bosi.
So thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate this. As I'm making my way through your schedule and trying to make sense of the colored dots here, and going through the dots that are catching my eye are the magenta dots, the cost estimates. This is the bigger, the cost estimates. Yeah. And looking at them, you have preliminary cost estimates. You've got schematic design cost estimates, the design development cost estimates, and then the construction document cost estimates. You've got those listed out here. Question for you and then a question for staff. Could you explain a bit how you work your way into those numbers, how those numbers typically evolve, and then the question to staff, if we were looking to go towards a referendum, which number would we be using as we work our way through all of this?
Yes, so cost estimates are the most important piece of any puzzle because they are your promise and commitment. They have to be aligned with what your quality expectations are. So if you want a 75-year building, we got to be clear as to what that means. Our process will, in this case, there's a look at a construction manager. Now what form that takes will be discussed, but we work directly with a construction manager to vet out at each stage what each component or chunks of component cost. So early on, it really is a kind of line item of the systems and scale of the building. And then we sit down and go through what our assumptions are, because you're not done with the design at that point. But go through in a very collaborative way what the assumptions are and check between the lines. And then that budget is what you're kind of promising at the end of a pre-design phase. You're saying, we've got this scope of quality expectation, this is what we expect it to be cost-wise, and we have to stake our reputation on that. So it's very important for us at that phase. And then along the way, as you go past that into the design, what we call the design phase, where we're getting more detailed, we often start with a check set in terms of a continual conversation with cost estimator. In this case, it's likely to be a CM. We can also pair that with a cost estimator of our own choice to compare. But those go through, and then at each phase, we ask for sign off on the scope from the committee, basically that says, here's what your quality is and here's what the cost is. We've aligned it based on all the conversations and design development we've had. And then that happens at each phase, which would be schematic design, design development, and construction before it goes to bid.
That was an awfully thorough answer, Councilmember Bosi, members of the council. Mayor Winstead, was there?
No, there's going to be a lot of information and a lot of decision-making that's going to be need to make, this council's going to need to make going forward, because as these things go out, you hear from everybody. There's a group that wants to see soccer fields. There's a group that you can never provide enough pickleball courts. There's a group that's going to come out and say the aquatics needs to be bigger, not smaller. There's going to be a group that comes out and says this location isn't the proper location. There's going to be a group that comes out and says I don't wanna see the city spend any money on something like this. You're gonna see, you know, I mean, and so there's gonna have to be this weighing, this value of the information received.